we're recording, just so you
I'm not good at microphones.
know. It's okay.
There you go. Hi, so my name is Yvonne Ford. I've been in healthcare compliance. I live in Queens. I've lived in New York for about 20 years. I worked in healthcare compliance, so that's my background. Obviously, the cannabis business is a new business. The member of this applicant is actually an RN. She's looking to go into this business and thought that healthcare compliance officer would be a good start. Obviously, she wants to, as much as possible, and if we can, she wants to recruit from within the community. So, obviously, because this is a new business in New York, and it's sort of, especially on the retail side. So, I don't have a lot of experience within the cannabis industry, but my background is compliance. The applicant is an RM for the last 15 years. She also has real estate management knowledge and management experience. She is from actually within this community. It's very important to her. She understands that this is a new industry, and it's very important to her that this is done properly. It's done in a compliant way. It's done in a way that is reflective of the community. And one of the things that she really wanted me to express was that she wants your feedback as well. It's not, just us coming in saying this is what we want. We really want to know what you want and what you're looking for.
So, she's new to the industry, what kind of information has she found out about cannabis in the management experience that she has? How does that apply to running the dispensary?
So I think that, one thing to understand, and I think there's like this preconception, everyone thinks of smoke shops, etc. This is a very, very regulated industry. So everything from the marketing, from the outside, from how the plants are traced and tracked, and everything is very, very regulated. So her experience coming into this is having that ability to follow the regulations, to be from a very regulated real estate, but also obviously from the RN side and the medical side. Also education, that's very important to her, the education to all people. So obviously there's going to be very strict regulations there. There's no promotion to children, the marketing, etc. is not in any way attractive to people under 21, but also for all the people coming in. There's people that maybe end of life where they find the cannabis can be helpful, but maybe because of federal regulations it's not allowed under Medicare, etc. So those, educating also, obviously the overdose, having too much, how much is, there's a lot more, and education-wise, she's a lot more able to make sure that those right messages are going out. Obviously, they're coming from the state, and the state has mandated warnings, but beyond that, just to make sure that education is really important to her.
Okay, do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Hi, Eva, right?
Eva, yes.
Yeah, nice to see you. I see that Espira submitted her lease. She's already has a lease of 10 years.
It's a letter of intent. Obviously, this application has been submitted to the state. There's no guarantee that it's going to be approved, but she does have a letter of intent. If the application gets approved, then it's binding. She can have that, stay in that place. Yes.
Okay, and is she self-funding or is she still in the midst of fundraising with venture capitalists?
Self-funded.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's completely self-funded. She's not looking for outside investment.
And additionally, in terms of the safety of the business, the cannabis businesses, obviously you've heard in the news there's a lot of robberies related to this type of business because of the cash it carries.
Right.
So does Ispira and the person in charge on the premises on a day-to-day basis have a safety plan in place?
Yes, there was, I think, believe that that was attached. I mean, obviously, this is a draft, the state still has to approve everything. So there was a safety plan attached, there will be security cameras, there will be security staff.
Right, the security camera stay for 60 days, right?
At least 60 days.
At least 60 days.
Right.
So what about just the day-to-day, hours? How will you enforce that if there's something, if there's a crime or anything else happening
Right, so
besides the cameras?
oh, okay, so the big plan that was attached. There will be security guards. I think one of your questions was whether those security guards will be armed. I think that that's sort of open. I think that that was something that she wanted to speak to the community about. Obviously, look and see what the safety is. I don't think it was like necessarily, yes, they're gonna be armed, but it was gonna be a conversation.
Any other questions from the committee?
Which one is this?
It's Vital Green.
64th Road.
Oh, okay. You're not gonna be on street level, are you?
The regulation from the state is that they all have to be street level.
So you're gonna be in that 71,
9717 64th Road.
right, so on that block, where you gonna be?
I'm gonna 9717.
No, I know that, I'm not around the corner.
Oh, okay.
But isn't that the tall building? I mean, is that where Abad is? No. You don't know the area, you don't know, you know where I'm talking about on 64th Road?
Yes.
On the north side of the boulevard, right?
I don't know which is the, I don't know.
It's funny because I also couldn't find the address, so
All right, so I'm not the only one that's confused, go ahead, yes, go ahead.
I don't know if it's Noble South, I can find out.
It's right next to the Chabad at River Park.
Right, so it's actually in the private, it's gonna be in that private home? You
No.
understand?
It's
No,
not,
it's not a private home.
No, you know what I'm talking about? It's right near Dynamo, but where is it?
I think it's a little round, big brick building. When you're going down Dynamo, and St. Paul's is on this side, it's on the right side, going down. 1 second. I was trying to get
Can
the
you-
picture of it.
I just wanna clarify, where it's not. I don't know where.
We're looking at
No, I think the, let me go to that.
Yeah,
I'm not as technical as my children. Yeah, it is in that brick building. It would have to be in that brick building, between, the nice new modern build,
Right,
and the, 9713, the not so modern build,
right,
the brick building.
but is it, she said it's on street level.
the regulation from the state is that they all have to be on street level.
Heather, is that on street? I mean,
There's an entrance on street level, it right now says Century Medical. But the problem is, this is gonna be a problem for us with members of our board.
go ahead.
And I don't know if they're there right now, because this picture was taken in 2022, so things have changed.
Go ahead.
But in that same building is a place called Active Minds Universe. Does that sound familiar to you? Okay. What can you tell us about the other occupants of the space? Because there are multiple signage on this building. One signage is for Active Minds, one signage, okay, the wrong way.
There is also a Twitter page.
Yeah, that's the Active Minds Universe. Right,
And then it's Shabbat, is something for prayers.
Isn't there a Chabad on one of the floors now?
but there is also a sign that says space for rent.
Yes,
Space for rent, Active Minds, a medical office for a Dr.
right,
Rabati or Rabato.
right.
So that's with the more classic white door on the right. On the left, there are stairs that lead up to, which I'm guessing that would seem, street level, cause it's kind of like, cause I'm like, yeah, right, it's kinda like a ranch, kinda maybe. And it looks like maybe the Active Minds is on top. So are you familiar with this property at all? Have you been to this property? You
They
have
have,
not?
they don't have a lease yet.
Right, but they have a letter of intent,
Right.
correct? So
Yes.
why would you?
But
Why
My,
would you go into a lease if you've not seen the property?
I haven't seen the property, but my understanding was that they're having the full property.
Right. This just is, this property here is just distinctly different from other properties that we've been considering for cannabis locations. For example, we've got, former banks, we've got vacant storefronts. This is more of a private house that's being used commercially, probably because it's in a commercial zone. Probably it was there as a holdout on some type of situation. So I'm just concerned about, you know, because of how the building seems to be cut up, is if indeed it is on the first floor, because it looks like right now there's a doctor on the street level and that there are stairs up to the next level, if I'm looking at it correctly.
Let me check because, when we discussed it, that it was like for the full space, there wasn't like anything else sharing the space.
There's nothing else sharing the space?
So do you know if the previous tenants left the location? And you are taking over?
Yeah, I don't have that information.
I mean, Active Mind
So,
says they're.
I mean, the landlord gave a 10-year lease, gave an option for 10-year lease, so I presume that. I'm sure he would have entered into something that was binding if he had a tenant in there. I could definitely get that information for you.
Yeah, because
That's
I think
an office building. That's an office building.
it's mixed use, it's not just office.
Oh, no, but I'm saying, I'm using the word office
Yeah.
generically.
It does
It's
say,
office, it's actually offices.
yeah,
But see here,
Yeah, go
if you
ahead.
look down here, it says 9717. If you look down here, if you look under the Chabad of Rico Park,
Yes.
it says 9717.
So it is that building.
when I do 9717 and 64,
There was no store.
it comes up to this.
So it is this building.
I mean, no disrespect.
Because this is, hold
I'm not
on,
trying to
this
give you
is
difficulty, but
415.
that's not a storefront.
So it's gotta be the other side of the street. Hold on. No, this is a problem.
Yeah, right here, it even says 9717 on the window.
Yeah, it's.
Okay, it's
It's
9717.
an office
Okay.
It's a
building.
glass.
So that's where it would be. Okay, it's not in the house then, okay. Okay, so I think one of the things that some of our board members have brought up, even, we know the law. We know how far you have to be from a public school, or a parochial school for that matter. How far you have to be from a church, and we know that you clear that fine. But the very fact that you are next door to like a tutoring center around, I mean, you are literally surrounded, by a Kumon that's just on the other side, Balanced College Prep. We've now got the Active Minds universe, you've got Tiger Schulman, literally that square is like peppered with, and that's going to be an obstacle. Because, you know, it's come up many times, and we've heard it in board meetings. You know, and we don't expect toddlers and kids that are going for college prep to be going into your shop just as much as I don't expect my 17-year-old to be stopping by the Tri-Lone liquor store on her way home from school, okay?
Yeah, I understand.
I'm a very reasonable person, but we have concerns about, I think there is a perspective on customers mixing with children and families that are going to these businesses. Now, I know that there's also a mindset that this is just like a liquor store. You know, you don't freak out about, you know, having a liquor store or wine shop near you, right? So these are two conflicting mindsets in one community. So I guess my question is there anything that because you're gonna get put, this question's gonna get put to you, do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, absolutely, you know, and I think, and again, you know, I mean, I can tell you my personal feelings, but the feeling of the member, the sole member of this, is that it's very much that she wants to make sure that it's done in the right way. So she understands that the state has given approval for this and that there are going to be legal stores in the area. She wants to make sure it's done right. Now, Obviously, they're staying within the regulations, which means that the front of the building will only have one sign, that it won't have any, bright flashing colors, that it won't be attractive to children, that it will be very, discreet, so to speak. On top of that, in the store, she's gonna make sure that obviously there's the required signage, but beyond that, that there will be absolutely nothing that will attract children or to make sure that there's not, lines of people outside that are all waiting to come in, that it's gonna be done in a very discreet and regulated way.
Have you met the businesses around that business? That the tutoring school knows that this is the intention of the new?
My understanding is that there isn't anything else on that area, but I can check with the landlord and with the owner, sure. And I know that, and I believe that there is an illegal shop nearby, I think maybe across the street or very close.
Any more questions? Do you have any questions?
No, I think your feedback, I think understanding about the children, the neighborhood, I think that those are really valid concerns, and it's something that the owner, the member really wanted to get that input from you. One of the things, she hasn't designed the logo yet, she hasn't designed the front of the store or the signs. That's something that she really wanted board approval on, and she wanted to have that input, and she wanted it to be like a partnership, not just saying, I come in here, this is legal, the state says, yes, I want to do it. It was really wanted to be something that was mindful of the community.
If I could just make a note, I'm not a security expert, okay? I just got a very curious and crazy child. But when I think about this business, it's located right near an alley. I would highly recommend exterior cameras that face the alley.
Absolutely.
Because when I look here at the photo, I don't see anything to that degree. It could be in the shadows that I'm not able to see. But that would be something, I think, given the cash issue. Until the federal government can get on board and understand that what they've done is they've created an unnecessary risk by not allowing credit cards. And we understand and appreciate that that's a problem that this industry is not created for itself, it's been created for them. But I think that, cameras in that alley would be very wise.
That makes sense.
Yeah, cause it's a dark spot.
Right.
And this time of year, dark spots start early. Okay, does anybody else have any more questions? It would be helpful if some of the things we raised tonight, if you could get nailed down before you come back to us.
No, absolutely.
In a week's
She
time.
definitely wanted your feedback, so I'm gonna go, I'm sure you'll receive an email very soon, and she'll get that information from the landlord as well.
Great, we look forward to seeing you in a week.
Alright, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Would you be the one coming in next week, or
I
the two
will,
of you?
probably the two of us.
That would be great.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you
so
for
much.
coming. Bye, Eva.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Now how do you want to do this?
I think it's at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, because people are already waiting, we're running behind.
You're the queen, you guys are the queens, whatever y'all want to do.
I agree.
Okay. Next. I'm sorry that I was confusing for a second, I was like, oh, 9714, that's across the street, hold on.
I had to like zoom in, I saw it said 9717, but he's right, when you walk into that building, the way it looks, I don't see it being a storefront. So like, you're gonna see a door that probably says Vital Greens on there,
Yeah.
because it doesn't look like there's like a store. Because
Store.
yeah.
Yeah, well, get a massage, go downstairs, get a little bite of
Bye,
food.
thank you.
You know, pretty chill kind of thing. No, but I'm wondering, but this is also the first time I've heard someone say that everything must be on the first floor.
The charter school,
There's a charter school there?
that is correct. Somebody should go over there and measure.
What's the name of the
Hi,
charter
good
school?
evening. Welcome, please have a seat. Yes.
It's a charter school.
What's it called, do you know?
I'll look at it.
No, you're not
We're
helping.
here.
You gotta help the sister out.
We've already established it's not a storefront. Now, let me look it up.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if that's even, Go ahead.
Great, okay. So just quickly, which business are you, because we're running a little,
Cannabis, the adult use cannabis,
Your address.
7141.
7141 Austin Street.
Prime Leaf LLC.
Right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I couldn't create for some
You're,
reason.
okay, Prime
Okay,
Leaf,
so,
Prime Leaf LLC.
that's your, that's your
Yeah,
business.
that's the.
You're right. David Chance, I found it.
Got it.
Okay.
Bunch
Thank you.
of measures.
Sorry, y'all, just trying to clean up my mess.
How much do you need to?
Go ahead, Gladys.
good evening and welcome. And if you can just please introduce yourselves and tell us about yourselves and a little bit about the business as well.
Okay, well, my name is Shihab Saidi. I'm here to have my friend Senator Salami. He's applying for the license. You know, he just came from, he's been here for like, what, 2 years? His English is not very well.
Okay.
So I'm just here to translate and to explain, you know. So, basically, Salami has been here for 2 years, as I mentioned, and his family been running like deli stores. So he has the experience of how business works. So, and he's familiar with this area, and he was asking around and decided to apply for a license for Austin. And give it a shot, you know, because his family is financially is not stable, as far as he explained to me earlier. So maybe this would help him with, because he have his father and mother here, and also he has his siblings back home. He has like 7 siblings, so you know, he's supporting them here and supporting them also back home.
Alright, so, where is the deli store that you run? Or does the family run?
It's in Brooklyn, in Bay Ridge. The actual address? Or?
No,
Oh.
just locations.
Okay.
I mean, the address.
We're not gonna stop you. No.
Okay.
Oh, you wanna get it?
No, either no. I'm so
Alright.
bad.
Okay, you're going to be located very close to the Forest Hill Stadium. What are your plans when the concerts restart in the summer and you will have an increase? You see a lot of foot traffic from people outside the community, so how do you plan on managing that?
So, basically I mean, he's focusing mostly in local. The stadium would bring like extra foot traffic, as you said.
That's a lot of extra foot traffic.
Extra lot. So he's basically like in safety wise, he's gonna have guards. He's gonna hire like a company, professional armed guards, or I mean, depends what community is looking for. So he's not really focusing in the stadium as if, like in the area of like locals. Stadium as I mean, and as we know, it brings a little bit we don't know yet. But I mean, if he's probably gonna push the business up, but safety wise, organizing wise, he's gonna have hiring at least 4 or 5 employees locally, and he's gonna have guards for the safety.
Okay, just to let you know, the stadiums, when the concerts happen, it does increase a lot of traffic, and a lot of community members and community board members have expressed their not being happy with the amount of noise that it creates, the rowdiness of the crowd. So when you're outing or you're adding the access to the products that you have, plus the drinking and everything, I mean, I've never been to one of the concerts, so I can tell you from personal experience. But based on what everybody says, just prepare that there is going to be a lot of chaos in those areas, and you need to be prepared for that as well.
Yes, sure.
My name's Heather, good evening. In regards to your choice for armed guards, oh, I thought I had a big mouth. In regards to your choice for armed guards, we've you're not our first, cannabis location we've interviewed, but you're one of the first that have said they're gonna have armed guards. Why the choice for armed guards?
I mean, as I mentioned, it could
Yeah.
be armed or non-armed, depending on what the community like. So basically, if the community is saying, okay, like she mentioned, with the stadium, it's gonna be a lot of people and this, and the community feels safe to have, you know, an actual professional guard with armed.
Mhm.
I mean, we possibly is willing to work with that.
Okay.
If not, non-armed is will be fine too.
You mentioned that you're gonna be hiring a company to handle the security. Did I get that correctly?
Yes, like, you know, how they have private companies,
Mhm.
because if you want armed security, you have to have an actual, you know, security.
Do you know who you've chosen?
Not yet, but I know a few companies around, either, or actually the precinct too, if you want, they could provide that officer for, as a safety, for, maybe for those days where the stadiums is, you know, people are in town, so what is the range for the stadium?
Yeah, well, it depends, on the concert and the event, because some events are single events, some events are like all day. When they have EatsCon, the volume comes and goes, because it's not basically concert seats, it's kind of like a food festival, so it varies. But it does get very dense, I think it's like, isn't it 13,000 people in the stadium about, give or take? And I think our main concern is not that you would provide disruption, but that given the fact that it's concerts, we know that alcohol and concerts go together, and I'm just assuming, I've never done cannabis, okay, I was a very boring teenager, I guess. But I'm assuming that cannabis would also be something that you might take with you to a concert, since consumption is legal. So I think part of our concern is that your particular location, given how freaking close, because you're like right here, and everyone that comes to the concert comes down Continental, and you're literally just like right there. You're like prime time, because you're gonna have that Rite Aid location that's got 2 entrances, and that brings me to a concern. Are you going to still operate with 2 entrances?
No.
Because there's 2 entrances to Rite Aid, there's one on, well, to the former Rite Aid, what used to be there. There's one on Austin, and there's one on, 71st.
No, we're talking about 2 different locations, you're talking about the rate date. Now, this is the actual, there is a,
How am I getting this?
It's a microchip.
Is it 7114 Austin Street?
no, 71 40.
41.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, I must be dyslexic.
I mean, I wish
I
I
must
could
be
get a rate
retired. I should not be drinking coffee,
Okay.
Christine.
That's not too far off though.
Yeah, but you're still wicked close, so this is,
Yeah.
scratch my door question. I think our concern is that you need to have a system in place to handle the volume, that's what we're trying
Of
to
course,
tell you.
that's, as I said.
Like an order in advance system, you know, where, you know, you could maybe, you know, for concert nights, I would suggest, you know, you must order in advance, you don't take street orders, X number of walk-ins. No walk-ins from here to here and from here to here. I don't know, I'm just suggesting a way to sort of manage it so that people can just come and pick up, that they can pre-order, right? It's kind of like Starbucks for cannabis, where you can do your order, go pick up your supply, and then during the concert time, that's when things really slow down. Because you're gonna get slammed. There's a real possibility that you can get slammed, especially as close as you are.
Well, as I mentioned, you know, the guards would actually have the flow of customers, you know, how many certain people like to walk in and the rest have to be. And you'll be given like approximately 5 minutes to choose what you want, because, you know, you gotta have time to give everybody the opportunity to walk in. And also when you, during the concerts, like you could possibly hire like a few, like 2, 3 more people in there that would, you know, guard customers, ask what they want and help them, so that would make the process faster. So you could make it in and out within, you know, maybe 5 minutes, I would say, or so.
And since, having armed guards, they also have to be trained in de-escalation techniques, especially during those times. So that's something else that you might want to consider as well, because if the crowds are high and things, I mean, I'm just anticipating, maybe nothing happens, but with the amount of people that you can encounter, that might be something that you want to be aware of.
I mean, if we were to get like a professional on guard, they probably trained how to.
But you have to be sure that.
Yeah, well, also,
yes.
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, if the board is not feeling, is not necessarily to have an arm, as I said, you could, have an armed, security. I mean, that would be up to the community. Us, he's open-minded, like, whatever is gonna make the community feeling safe for the business to be there.
Are you doing deliveries?
No.
Okay. How do you plan to verify age?
With ID, the scanner,
Scanner.
the actual, they have a state.
Yeah. Okay.
Of course, he's gonna have one in the front door, so when I walk in, make sure you're 21, and when you're getting ready to purchase, they're gonna have like this POS system, where you have to scan your ID and get your information. So to verify if there's like a fake ID or not.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids around with fake IDs.
And my last question is, you mentioned that you will give back to the community 5% of your profits. How do you choose the recipients of that 5%, or do you already have charities that you work with?
He would he don't have a charity yet, but I think it would be better is this like a boys and girls club? I'm from North Carolina, so they have boys and girls clubs, where, for kids, for the weekends, something like we donate to the community board, and whatever they see is used up, like a check at the end of the month. That's what it's.
I mean, this particular place where we are tonight they do kids programming here, but they also do senior programming. Also in our community, we have an organization called Queens Community House that exists on donations, and they do a kids program. That's actually a program that is born out of this community. So there's Queens Community House. I mean, if you're looking for places and suggestions, we could provide a list of charitable organizations. I'm sure the office has.
We can't actually accept a donation, but we could.
Refer you.
That's like whatever is in need, or you think people, just point that in mind, maybe like a check written to them.
Sure.
Okay, I only have one question. On the application, you said you would only keep video recordings for 7 days. Why such a short amount of time if the police or the DA needs to look at videotapes?
Okay, so the system they're using, it's 12 cameras or 14 cameras, and it records like high definition with voice and night vision. So you gotta take 12 cameras or 14 cameras. Like a system is like 4 terabytes, so it has to clean out every 7 days because it gets full. I mean, if necessarily, as I said, we would make feel. You could get 2 different systems where they would be recording like 14 days, so we would cap basically the terabyte by half. But one system 6 cameras and one system 6 cameras. More than that, honestly, because if you want to have a high definition camera with voice and night vision and all that, it's gonna be like this capacity because it takes up a lot of space.
So I guess will there be due diligence in terms of saving the recordings that you need if something happens?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Will there be any due diligence, meaning, will somebody be careful and review and save the tapes if there is an incident?
Of course, yes, of course. Will be accessed through a app or through a computer or through the actual DVR in the store, technologies.
Hi, I'm Brian. So you did mention that you were from Bainbridge, you had a deli there. I was just wondering what brought you to want to open up this kind of store in this type of community, being that you work currently in Bainbridge.
So basically, he has an aunt living off of Forest Hill on the other side. So he come visit her often, and he walked through here. He's been familiar with the area, and he kind of like it. It's a different environment from here, from Austin to Bay Ridge, and he feel it's a good location for that family.
Yeah. What, is that an empty storefront now? Where you are?
I believe not, but he got a.
What is it now?
Clothing store.
It's empty. It's old.
Oh,
It's the old Hallmark.
Oh.
It was an old Hallmark a long time ago.
Say it again?
It was the old Hallmark next to Soleil.
Okay.
It's near
So
next to Mac for Chicken.
he got a letter of intent from he already spoke to the landlord with, and he's willing, he said, if he's getting the license, he's gonna give him the lease.
Right, so it's an empty store.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I just have one question. He mentioned that running his deli store gives him enough experience to go into this business. Has he, or is he willing to contemplate the training offered by the cannabis management office of the city?
Yes, he's one. There is any,
He hasn't looked into that, so far, right?
not that you know, not so much. I don't training in. Not that he got yet from the cameras. I don't think so they have any, protocol like this yet.
Say that again?
Because his application is still in process, it hasn't any protocol for like training and all that. I think that's the next step, when be like, okay, you approve, then you have to do maybe, I don't know, they're gonna provide certain courses, because you have to know how much to sell, what to do in this case, what to do in that case, how to handle the stuff, because it's yeah, that would be like, I think that would be the cannabis department, but not right now. As far as I know, it's not in this level yet. Or that he hasn't received any information about that. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Do you have any questions for us?
That's it.
Thank you.
So much.
Take a picture.
Or can they provide a picture of the location? Right, so these are the names of the people that are gonna be speaking, because they don't all match the applications. Okay. So like this one, that's the one. Over here, so now there's like three.
She was supposed to come at 7:50, but she came early. So now the attorney is here. So I told him if he wanted to say, he said if he could wait till the end, can he clarify some of the answers that she didn't know? Okay. And so I told him if he wants to wait, he can, otherwise he could bring the answers next week.
We're gonna pick up speed.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Maybe a timer, somebody that can tell us in 15 minutes.
We can do that.
And this was the first one that went to the wrong address, but told them they had to wait.
Yes.
These are the next one in order.
The translate, yeah, that's fine.
So now who's coming? 7:55. Okay,
Yes.
Darrell and
Yes.
Harvey. Okay, you guys can do it. I pronounce the names.
This is down.
Hi, good evening. Welcome. Thank you for waiting. So if you can please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves and the business.
Use the microphone, please.
I'm sorry, Daryl Hogan, Bass Jack, we're here this means trying to open Queens. It's hard to be clear because my business partner. Go ahead and speak.
Just so you know, we're being recording this session.
No problem. Good evening. So as Daryl said, so I'm, part of the team on the license. So he's the car license holder. And then there's probably 6 or 7 different, owners of the license. And then I'm, leading the charge on the consulting side, consulting the business deal.
And you're not the applicants, are you representatives of the business? Is that, do I have that right?
No, you got it.
You are.
Yeah, Daryl is the, yeah.
I'm sorry, that just.
Yeah.
So the location you selected, I believe it was Bank, is that
Correct.
correct?
Yes.
And you have a letter of intent from them, correct?
We have signed these.
You signed the lease?
Yeah.
Wow, that's believing in yourself.
Yeah.
All right, my question is, what is it about that location that made you choose it, about the space, about the location commercially?
So I think 2 things. Daryl's licenses for Queens, so we worked in various parts of Queens, Long Island City, Astoria, Weaver Park, just trying to figure out where we thought was gonna be the best location. I think what drew us there was, as far as the neighborhood, one, the traffic along Queens Boulevard, the shopping that's there, the highway. We walked around, spent some time in the neighborhood, we saw nursing schools, then we talked to different, people there. So I think we thought it was a diverse community that had, people of different, from 21 up to, elderly senior citizens that may have an interest in cannabis. So I think we thought it just reflected more of New York as far as like a diverse area.
Thank you.
In your questions, you indicated that some of your security guards will be armed. Can you tell us a little bit about that decision, and also what kind of training will they get for de-escalation or just to be there present in the business?
Yeah, I think that typically who we talk to have been former and current law enforcement officers who have private security companies. So if it is an armed person, typically would be someone that's an officer or a retired officer. We've talked to, and Darryl has a delivery location in the process of opening, delivery only, that's on Northern Boulevard. So we spoke to, I think that's Newport One. So we kind of had a conversation with them. They were more in a position where they wanted our card. Some people do, some don't. We're open to having a mixture. And I think that, a lot of it is just trying to get a sense of what the store is going to be like, what the traffic is like. Since it's new, we don't really know yet. So we kind of want to see what everything looks and feels like. But our plan is to have both in the beginning, and then make an evaluation of how does it look like things are going. So luckily, there never been any incidents, but you never know what they have in the future.
So can you clarify? So it looks like you're going to be certainly doing a delivery only on Northern CB1, and that the location here, you're going to sort of start as retail, see how it goes. You don't get the foot traffic you want, but you got a really hell of a delivery business. Then you might transition from being a retail business to being a delivery service. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, I think, the delivery only business, New York only lets you do for 1 year.
Okay.
So the retail business is a longer license.
Got it.
So that business will only exist for 1 year.
Okay.
And then this business will be the retail business, and delivery will also follow once that, we may do it initially, but definitely once that location has to close, then we'll definitely run delivery from this location.
How many people doing deliveries? Is it one person? Is it gonna be a
In the
2-person
beginning,
team?
we're just starting with 5 people.
So, but when a person goes out for delivery, it's one person on their own with the delivery, correct?
We've talked about that. New York only requires one person.
Okay.
Some states require you to have two. So we thought about, are we gonna do two people? There's one driver, one delivery person. But what they do for safety purposes, you have to pay in advance, there's no cash, it's all online. So the delivery drivers, less of a target, but they don't have cash on them.
Can I ask you how you do that? How do you get those?
Basically, when you're ordering online, there's gonna be, an online payment system. So depending on which company you use, they either use ACH or they'll use some form of card payment online. Once, they do age verification, scans your ID, it validates the barcode in the back of your ID to make sure you're over 21. Once all those things are done, then the system will check off that you're, an approved person that you can, cannabis is delivered to you. And then you're in the system, for future purchases, but each time you have to pay in advance. So there's no cash on delivery.
Right, 'cause you can't pay with credit card, but can you pay with?
You can pay through, debit, you can pay through, ACH, so those are the online payment systems that they use.
Hi, how are you? I'm taking a look at the lease that you signed, and it's actually very high rent. Are you guys self-funded, or do you have like angel investors, or, is this like a startup where you're collecting, investments?
No, Darrell has 3 investors, so, one of them is, or 2 are from Queens actually. But basically, 2 of them are franchisees that, have owned dozens of Taco Bells and Burger Kings. And the other one, owns an insurance company.
Okay.
So,
Is that you mentioned that you previously had experience owning and running businesses like restaurants. Are those what you're referring to?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Hi, I'm Bradley. So from reading this, it seems like you're going to be hopefully successful, like Place and Master Place. The way I kind of heard you talking about the online opportunity. I'm assuming though it's still going to be only cash in the store because I think it's what's required. Is that right?
No, there are a couple different options. So in the store, you can use PIN-based debit. You can use, what people are using where basically it appears to be a card machine, but it's really an ATM. So when you put in your card, it charges it like an ATM. You can use cash. Some people are using crypto, but we're not gonna use crypto. But those are things, you can't use right now a standard credit card. So it has to be PIN-based debit, ATM, cash, as far as your payment methods.
Okay. And then another question, and you're welcome to answer this if you'd like to, or you can answer it. I just wanted to know, you have to run an application that you're going to be the person there all the time, but I just kind of want to know if down the line as you get more comfortable with the business being in this location, or you know to have someone be more of a manager, or even continue being there as that sole person all the time, besides obviously your staff that you hire.
So I believe I will be hiring a manager as well as me being there all the time.
Okay.
That will continue on after I figure something else out.
Wonderful. And then my last question, you mentioned the Mexican community from promoting health and wellness, donating food, clothing, and other necessities to organizations. Have you kind of looked at some other organizations in the community you'd like to donate to, or are you looking to do it outside of the community, more like a greater New York type of donation? Just kind of wanted to hear that.
We talked to a couple of people in the political realm, politicians, and other people in the area. They talked to us about drives that they do annually and different organizations. So we haven't picked any particular group in the community. We talked to different people from the community. So I think we're open to just trying to figure out who, whether it's one group or multiple groups, what that may be, and then try to figure out how to spread it out as broad as possible. Even I forgot what it was, but it was maybe August or September. It was early on, but it's still warm. But I even went to a group did a event that was all around riding bikes and teaching kids how to ride their bikes. And, so I talked to a bunch of people just in the neighborhood, just trying to see what's happening. So I think we're trying to figure out an appropriate group or groups. That makes sense.
Thank you.
You're the first applicant we have that says that, you do intend to offer limited on-site consumption of products, such as edibles, for example. My understanding is that licensing is not available yet. Am I correct in understanding that?
There's 2 licenses that allow consumption, so one is not available, that's the full consumption license.
Mm-hmm.
But in September, they amended the dispensary licenses to allow what they call limited on-site consumption.
Can you explain that to me?
So
Like I'm
basically,
stupid?
yeah, no, it's all right, no, it's not, the laws are always
Yeah,
changing.
no
So,
kidding.
yes, I think it was effective September 27th or so, they basically said you can do limited on-site consumption if you have a dispensary license. So.
But how does that play out? Is it like you set up lounge chairs and people just sit and chill and?
It's interesting that they call it limited on-site because it has to be located in your dispensary or a space contiguous with the dispensary, like you rent the space next door. They're gonna have to do a physical inspection. They have to specifically approve your setup, your ventilation, your HVAC, things around your health. So we'll have to follow OCN to specifically be allowed to do that. You can't automatically do it, but they did authorize that as part of their license. The challenge though is like in New York City, and I think maybe even the entire state, but there's a New York City Clean Indoor Act. You can't smoke unless you have tobacco, grandfather as a tobacco lounge. So until the city council changes that law, no one can really have a consumption lounge with smoking. But also our lease doesn't allow smoking, so they only allow the consumption of edibles and other things. So when we do it, it will be limited, even once the law passes, but generally no one can, until that law changes, no one can really have a real consumption lounge.
That's an interesting point, because a lot of people say, I don't mind cannabis, I just don't like the smell. So that's kind of interesting. Okay, that's helpful because, being the first one, we're learning as we go too, full transparency. So we're thankful for your engaging us and helping us better understand that. That's fantastic, appreciate that. I'm gonna pass it back to the committee chair.
All right, just one point on that, part of the reason we talked about that is that particular space is a ground floor that has a mezzanine. So we've talked about, is it classes, is it yoga, is it a lounge? Like, we have to think about what are the ways to use the space because it's large, and also serve the community. But that goes back to, you have health and wellness, you have relaxation, because it may be some people's ideas, they're gonna do yoga with some form of other people.
Yoga with me, right?
That's kind of interesting.
That's great.
And
so I'm looking at how you're advertising the business, and I'm assuming you're going to be using the apps that are out there now, weekly apps. Are you using anything besides those kind of apps? Obviously, you do take a our website.
It's not up yet, but we
yeah, that's fine. Could you just kind of go on? Can you just go into more detail, just a little bit on when you say public relations and social media advertising? Is that going to be outside of those apps? How do you do that?
So I think for us, New York is interesting because New York has certain restrictions on advertising that the states don't have. So like, for example, so recently you couldn't use weed maps and some of those apps until they sued the state. So now you can use them pending them working something out. So I think that for us, we want to have a holistic approach. So by public relations, what we mean is, we want to get stories and articles about the opening, featuring Darryl and talking about what he's doing in the community. We want to do different things that, basically people are writing and talking about it. Social media is him utilizing his social media following and continue to grow the business. So we're trying to attack from different angles within the rules because they don't let you do certain things like big billboards and other things that you can do in other states. So you have to figure out how to let people know that you exist. So part of it is, being active in the community. They let you do pop-up events. Now, that's one of the other things we added consumption. They also added the right to do pop-ups and different things. So, we plan on being active in the community that, we can help drive people back to your retail store or to order delivery. Because they have to know you're there first before they, know to try to, buy.
A question about the pop-ups. The pop-ups will be something that will be providing something, let's say, cupcakes or coffee or any type of drinks? Or do you plan on serving anything else besides the edibles?
So in the consumption lounge, the pop-ups are both, you said, yeah.
But you mentioned that they will be part of the business, so it's just a
Yeah.
question of how the distribution will be used.
So the pop-ups, technically call it a cannabis event. And it's like the consumption, you apply those and you get permission, they look at where you wanna have it, so it could be part of a farmer's market, a festival, whatever you can creatively come up with that they approve. So in those areas, we may sell edibles and merchandise. It could be something that has a food component, but they regulate that, they don't really want you necessarily competing with restaurants.
Okay.
So I think they would more want you to partner with the restaurant, and they do the food, and you do, the cannabis or the merchandise. So I think those would be creative things that Darryl comes up with to say, hey, I wanna do something with this particular person or this event, but we're gonna try to always do things that, drive business back. And in the consumption lab, same thing, like right now, you can't sell food, you can only sell water, you can't sell food or beverages. So unless they change that, you won't have food, but I'm sure people sell, I'm not sure, people will sell beverages, like, bottled beverages. Someone may say, hey, I have a infused pasta sauce, I want you to carry. So there's gonna end up being stuff like that for people who wanna use it and cook and do other things at home. So those products eventually, I think, will be carried.
Thank you. Any more questions?
I'm just curious about your license. The license that you have right now is something that is called conditional adult use. Is this something that allows you to fully operate, or some of the steps that you need to before?
Yeah, so you're correct, so it's called a conditional adult use retail dispensary license. And what makes it conditional is that there's a period of time by which they want you to, in year 2 and year 4, you have to submit reports, saying, what you've done, you comply with the rules, they go back and review, make sure no infractions. And then the license will transition to being non-conditional. But it is a full license on which you can operate. The difference is, like his license now is called provisional. So they awarded him the license subject to him doing certain things. So he comes to the community board, you have to find a location, you have to pass an inspection. So those things make it go from a provisional license to a final license. But once it's final, although the license is called conditional, it is a full license, has the same rights as the non-conditional license. There's a few restrictions about not being able to sell and certain things like that, but otherwise he can do all the same things that a person with a non-conditional license can.
In terms of your signage.
And then, can you just use the microphone? Sorry. It's on.
Oh.
That's it.
When it comes to your signage, I know you don't have any sample of signage at the moment. I know the outfit where you're going because I live around the area. How are you planning to display your signage? If I'm not mistaken, I was reading the piece. There's something there that the landlord says you're not allowed to do any sale advertising outside. So how do you plan to do that?
So New York allows you to have 2 exterior signs, and they have rules around dimensions and size. They can't have a picture of a flower or cannabis on it. So, the signage will be most likely text of a name. It's not gonna be a lot of graphic imagery. They don't want you, doing things that may appeal to minors and certain advertising rules. Also, you're not allowed to run sales, so some of the stuff in the lease, you can't do anyway. You can't put a 10% off or for sale sign in the window, because New York doesn't allow you to do, and the landlord doesn't allow it. So it's gonna really be, signage, and then you actually can't look in the windows and see product. So either, some people will black out their windows or put that, a film, a reflective film, so you can't see it. or if you can see in, they build a wall behind it so you can't really see in the store, you can see a vestibule and a waiting area where people are at.
Are you changing the structure of the front? Because there is an entrance and there's another wall there before you go.
Yeah, right now there's two doors that walk in that's straight, and then there's the other little side entrance where there's a big wall. So one of the things we have to figure out is we haven't, excuse me, finished the design, but excuse me, we're gonna have where you walk in, there will be a wall there for security purposes. So that's where the security guard will check everyone, do age verification. So before anyone can actually walk into the retail space, they need to be verified. So it's not gonna be where you kind of, normally a bank, you can just walk right in, or at the ATM area, it'll be a section, a second entrance inside.
You're also using the mezzanine level, right?
Yes,
The access is by walking up the stairs,
correct, yeah,
because I can see that on the lease also, so you're not allowed to use the elevators.
correct.
Okay. My last question to you or comment is that you said that you're gonna try to prevent odors emanating from inside using.
So the way New York doesn't allow storage outside of the vault areas except for temporary storage. So all the product is gonna be in vaults. There's a vault on the basement and a vault on the main level. So when we build out the space, we're gonna use HVAC and other odor mitigation technology to try to minimize the odor. So, that's not what I do particularly, but we talked to like our design team about that. So that's one of the things that we want to do. Just as, I think one, for the comfort of the customer, but then two, for the neighborhood generally. But I think it's a large space and the vaults are, like I said, in the back and downstairs. So I'm not sure if that will be an issue, but it is an issue to flag.
Thank you. We're done for questions. Do you have any questions for us?
No.
Thank you so much for waiting, and thank you for coming.
Question for next week, do we present again, or do you just come and attend and listen?
Basically, because we have 5 of y'all, so we're not gonna give you guys a ton of, basically it's gonna be if the existing board, which is about 40 people, have any additional questions. Because they're gonna be, they will have been supplied the questionnaire that you all filled out and the other information, so they will have that on hand. So it'll be any lingering questions that they have, to answer. You won't actually have to do a presentation, because that would be one freaking long night. 5 people, 5 presentations, and I don't think you guys really care about anybody else's business. So, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much.
Be well.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, welcome. Thank you for waiting.
Not a problem, thank you for having me.
So, if you can please just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the business.
Sure, so,
Use the microphone, sorry.
Oh, and you're being recorded.
okay, great, thank you, okay, again, good evening, really appreciate everybody's time tonight. My name is Fred Polsinelli, and I'm here on behalf of Marina Kadeva and the team proposing an adult use cannabis retail facility on Woodhaven. We've been in the community a long time. We've put a consortium together of local New Yorkers along with operational experts to run this facility. We put forth a really strong application in the state of New York. Many of our team have been involved in the legal industry landscape for many years, including here in New York since the first days of this medical program. So we're used to operating in a compliant environment. We're used to working closely with the community board and elected officials, patient groups, community groups, business groups, really the whole community at large. And we don't come from, the certain parts of the industry that have not been, operating in a compliant manner, although we're not here to say anything negative about anybody, but we're confident that, once the state issues legal licenses, that'll help drive out these illicit stores. It's obviously out of control. It's really astonishing to see. It's easy to look back and point blame, but I think the reality is the best way to get rid of these stores is to authorize legal stores that are focused on compliance and got state regulators all over them, tracking every single product from seed to sale. So just hope to win. Again, we don't know if we're going to win. We're trying. We're trying to do everything we can, be responsive to the community and elsewhere. And just want to answer any questions you might have. But again, we've done this for a while, so we know what we're getting into. Should we be fortunate enough to win?
I have a question about the location. I'm very familiar with the location where you are. And from what we understand, all the businesses have to be at street level. Where in that particular location would you be located?
We would be on the first floor within that site in accordance with the regs.
Is there a door, or I'm just because I'm used sitting there, so
Yeah.
I know when you go in, I see the second floor and then I see a basement, but I don't see anything on that first floor.
Yeah,
So you can just.
well, there's a first floor area and we would have to modify the site in accordance with the regs. We anticipate quite a bit of renovations in there if we win. We haven't started that yet. If we get the license of provisional, we'll start that day. But we're gonna do whatever we have to outfit the space to be in full compliance.
You mentioned also that, well, it wasn't you, but that she had experience with healthcare. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience?
She has a good amount of experience in retail, and others on our team come out of healthcare. She does come out of healthcare. Her family is very active in healthcare community in New York and New Jersey throughout different hospital networks and on the administrative and executive level. So she's got a lot of hands-on experience in working really on the medical side. This is not a medical facility, although some would argue all the products are therapeutic and for medicinal purposes. But our team itself has it's a diverse group of a handful of individuals who come out of medical, retail, and just licensed cannabis operations. So I can say for medical, I'm a part of the team. We were a part of the original medical facilities that opened in New York. So a lot of what we did was the interfacing with patient groups, physician groups, and putting people together around tables to just talk about the product and the program and state regulations and what people have to do to access the product and just remain in compliance. So we have different, so we have everything from kind of a hospital sort of formal background in some ways, and then also on the industry side when it comes to medical.
Okay. She also mentioned that she has a lot of devotion to the community. Can you explain a little bit more of what that means?
She's from here, she's from here, family's here, cousins here. She's lived here her whole life. We're all sort of we've worked in these different communities around Queens, especially in different neighborhoods for a long time. So I think it's just really being born and raised here and raising a family here and running a business here. It's about as close as you can be.
Any questions?
Hi Frank, how are you? So I noticed that the location is right on the edge of a residential neighborhood. That's a neighborhood that I grew up in, my parents still live there. And you've probably seen on the news, there's a lot of robberies of cannabis locations because of the cash you carry. In your application or the company's application, there is a plan, you guys will have security guards on premise, but how do you plan on either preventing or dealing with that issue coming into Regal Park?
Yeah, I mean, the robberies are happening at these illegal stores, because they don't have the compliance, there's no oversight, there's no security, and they don't have to do anything. So it's no coincidence why these robberies are taking place. Really only at the illegal stores. None of the legal stores have been robbed. And, I think that's a few reasons why. The state mandates a ton of security regulations. So we have to have every square inch under, camera, and they're monitoring it 24/7. We have physical guards on premise, and we don't want anybody consuming on the site, so we keep people in and out. So we have to, by law, take into account really serious security measures, but we do it anyway. We add additional guards, the guards that are used to working with consumers though, not guards that are gonna turn people off, but certainly guards that will act as a deterrence. And if things were to happen, they're trained in de-escalation. So we're talking licensed security guards, we're talking technology, we're talking 24/7 surveillance, close coordination with the NYPD. That's a huge part of it. Like they know us, we know them, we want to work really closely. We definitely don't want any security issues. We're mindful of the community, but they're not. These really are good establishments within these communities. If you look at any one of the legally operating stores in New York, upstate, downstate, they're a positive influence and sort of on their block. I mean, they're clean, they're secure. When you walk in, you feel welcomed. You definitely can tell between the legal stores and the illegal stores. But when it comes to security, it's a huge expense. I mean, we have to spend and invest in that security. And so I think it's just a combination of physical and then also tech and then close coordination with NYPD and our private security group.
A quick question in regards to your letter of intent. It's signed when we've done a basic search as to like who the landlord is. That name does not come up in a motion. Can you explain that?
I'm not sure. He's the landlord. He's the owner. I'm not sure of the search.
There's like 6 different names on 5 different sites, all the same. But unfortunately, Jan is not one of the people asked to the party.
Jan is a very well-respected local businessman who comes out of the biggest healthcare networks in the Northeast, New Jersey and New York. Jan's the owner. Jan would come tonight if I asked him to.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, no, but I'm not sure what you're looking at, but whatever else you need, I provided his deed. In our application to the state, we provided the actual deed to the property, which I can show you if you want.
It's fine.
Because in order to prove site control, as you know, we have to, either show a deed or an LOI, which shows that. But I can't explain what. He owns many properties, I know that.
No, it's fine. I don't want to make you nervous, please.
I'm not nervous, no. I'm here to
Sorry.
If you have no record of Jan Motion, I guarantee that's something I can clear up for you.
It's good. My other question is, are you going to be doing just retail, or are you going to be doing retail and delivery?
Retail and delivery, yeah. I mean, the stores are going to most of them are going to deliver out of their locations.
Is delivery going to be done with a team or an individual?
There'll be a team. It's not going to be a huge team, but we'll have a handful of individuals, maybe a couple of vehicles, inconspicuous, just sort of able to make local deliveries. The idea is to keep it close, especially with people who can't move around quickly or they need access and product brought to them for whatever reason. We want to be responsive. Delivery is a pretty big part of it.
I was going to say, I'm wondering if, because where you're located, it's not such a foot traffic area, car traffic area. But I was wondering if you anticipate having a higher percentage of your business on the delivery end as opposed to sort of walk-ins.
Usually what happens is you create a great retail experience, and then customers come and they see you once or twice, they get comfortable. Usually they transition into delivery, believe it or not, just in this industry. So we have to be set up for delivery. We're ready for delivery, but we're focused on the site and making it beautiful retail environment and going all out. But we're ready for delivery. It's a combination.
Will the folks doing delivery be accepting and keeping cash, or will the payment be rendered differently?
I mean, we'll utilize the payment systems the state mandates that we utilize. The age verification and everything.
Yeah.
I don't. Most of it's electronic, and we use the certain platforms that the state makes us use that are on contract.
So you won't be your delivery people will not be carrying cash or receiving cash.
There's not a major cash element to it. It's all pretty much done electronically.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll follow. If there's an element of cash and it's allowed within the state guidelines, if it makes the consumer experience easier and we can allow for security, then we'll do that. If there's an element of cash, there will never be a situation where individuals have a lot of cash on hand.
And you picked this location because that's my last question.
relationship with the owner.
Okay.
The owner is, you know, we come out of the medical side of the industry. I'm fortunate enough to align with, you know, medical professionals, and he's one of them. And it's a good site. And if you say it's okay, we're gonna make it go. If people don't want it, we're not interested. We're never gonna open up somewhere where there's no support. So, and it makes for a good location. And so I think we can win there. We put a good application and team together. So, the state gives us a provisional, we'll open the doors.
Okay, any questions from anyone else? Okay, next week, our meeting is at Borough Hall. It'll just be a situation of, board members asking a variety of questions. They're gonna be a team of about 40 people. They will have been provided the same assurance that you provided us. Thank you for filling all of that out. It kind of helps expedite this process. So thank you for that.
Honestly, thank you, and it really is. I mean, if you don't want us there, we're not gonna force it. So, but we think we'll be good for the community. So,
Thank you so much.
thank you. See you next week.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
You have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
Next is the one on Metropolitan Avenue. That's scheduled first. Yeah.
I wonder how they'll handle that. I didn't think it had to be more time.
Hi, welcome, baby. Hi. Thank you for waiting. Just to let you know, the session is being recorded, and if you can please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your business. And please use the mic, yes.
Hello everyone, my name is Zoya Minowa and I am the CEO of Comfort Care Services. I am in durable medical supply.
My name is Veer Patel. I also have a healthcare background, and I'm going to help with operations of the dispensary.
Hello, my name is Kim Lazar. I'm also healthcare background and will also be part of the management operations team here with Comfort Care.
When you say healthcare background, anyone in pharmaceutical sales? No. Okay. No. Thank you.
And can you tell us a little bit about the business and your vision for the business?
So, right now, we're envisioning the dispensary to be on Metropolitan Avenue. Coming from a background of healthcare, we're kind of projecting this to be more wellness, educate the public on the benefits. We're gonna not be a medical facility, but it's a recreational, but try to focus on the seniors and people with ailments, that we can navigate them and then show the benefits and different strains and what the effects are and how we can help them mitigate through daily life obstacles. That's kind of the intent of primary of the dispensary right now.
You kind of answered the question that I had reset. You mentioned that you have durable medical equipment.
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, so Zoya currently runs a medical equipment company, so if you don't know what DME is, predominantly patients that need medical equipment. It could be wheelchairs, canes, hospital beds, anything that you need for your ailments at home. My specific background, also I'm a physician, but I mostly ventured into the business side of medicine. I also had medical equipment, I had sleep centers, and that is more on surgery center compliance. So that's kind of where we're trying to align ourselves, because we come from a highly regulated industry, which is healthcare. We're trying to navigate the same guidelines and use the same principles and the same ethics into the dispensary. So that's why it gives us the benefit of venturing into this new enterprise.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. My question is about the safety and the location of the, two questions actually. The first one will be about safety. I'm sure you guys heard on the news that a lot of these cannabis locations have been robbed because they keep a lot of cash on hand. What are your plans to keep that area of Metropolitan Avenue safe, because it's right on the edge, like literally right on the edge of a residential neighborhood?
So the way we're envisioning the retail space to be laid out is we're gonna have dummy packaging in the retail. So most of our real product will be housed in a secure room. So even if there's a smash and grab, they're not really grabbing anything of value. Hopefully they learn after the first try, they do it. So it's almost like a pharmacy setting where you'll come in, you'll place an order, somebody will package it in the back, and then you'll be checked out. So that's the product side and how to keep it safe. On the cash side of it, we're gonna try to maintain as minimal cash by having cash pickups on a regular basis. So all the card services, we're not gonna transport that, personally. We're gonna try to promote as much of a online e-commerce, transaction. So even within the store itself, we're gonna set up a kiosk where you come in, you place your order, and then from that order, somebody will package it in the back. So the checkout will predominantly be debit cards, but if somebody does have cash, which they will, we're gonna try to regulate that by maximizing as many pickups as we can along the way.
Well, okay, that's a good answer. And then in terms of the hiring, the application, that there's only gonna be 50% or less, right, of residents?
50% or more. So
More? Okay.
our primary intent is hire locally because it just, New York City commute makes it easier, right? We can be more flexible. They know the individuals that are gonna come to our stores. But the limitation might be knowledge, right? The back end of it might be not as highly skilled required, but on the front end, we're gonna try to train as many people that know about cannabis, the benefits, the different strains. So if we can educate and they're willing to get trained, and I think LaGuardia has a program right now that's training people to become bud tenders, then hopefully most of those are local residents and we'll hire them. But if there is a limitation, then naturally we're gonna have to venture out.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sure you realize you're directly across the street from a library. And we did get a concern from a neighbor asking, about this type of facility directly across the street from a library. We're well aware that the state doesn't have any sort of regulation about proximity to libraries. And we realize that you're more than satisfied with requirements as far as proximity to the Mills campus further down the street. We understand that. But what we do understand in our community is that after school, a lot of those kids from Mel's, and the two other in Queens Metro, and they have schools on the other school on the site, tend to sometimes utilize both the library and the McDonald's after school. So, I believe I've listened to a lot of y'all tonight, so you may have not said this, but I may have heard, thinking I heard me heard you say, to get into the store, just to verify, you have to, you don't get into the store unless you are 21 or older, correct?
Yes, so I'm perfectly aware, and the way to mitigate this, the state has a good regulation and guideline on it. So first and foremost, we cannot promote anything outside that's gonna induce a child to walk in. So no cartoonish, logos, anything of that nature. Second, we're gonna black out the windows and the doors, so you just can't walk by and say, hey, wow, what's that, right? So we're gonna make it as private as we can. Third is there's gonna be a security guard at the front door that's gonna verify the ID and then allow individuals to come in. So we're gonna try to mitigate your concern of children walking by or accidentally walking in by doing those three measures.
Right, because we've had many businesses come before us and we've had the question to say, do you feel it's morally okay? This isn't my question, this is a question that comes from the board. To be across the street from a library where children are.
Morally okay in the sense that as long as we're not serving those individuals, right? There's always gonna be a child walking through a street. So for me, as long as we maintain the guidelines and compliance of not allowing any children to walk into our premises or promote them to walk into our businesses, I think it's okay.
Do you think that maybe the premise could be that the fact that I believe you said this, that there's gonna be a security guard at the door, And not probably it's gonna be outside the door, correct, but inside the door. Do you believe that maybe the heightened security around your business could actually make that particular corridor, that street, maybe even a little bit safer?
Well, it's actually not outside, so there'll be a vestibule. So when you come in, you'll just pretty much see a vestibule, there'll be a security guard that's gonna allow you, who's gonna verify ID and buzz you in. So the heightened security, I'm not sure if it's gonna be perceived on the outside as a heightened security as much as once you walk inside.
Cameras outside, yes, no?
Cameras outside, cameras inside.
Okay, street facing, sidewalk facing, door facing?
So door facing on the inside and the retail space as well as the back packaging area, just to make sure there's no theft internally. Also on the street facing, just because we have armor card services that, may come by and pick up. So I think some of it's regulatory requirements, some of it's just our precaution as well.
Is there an optimal time of day for armored cars to come by? That would be safer for both them and your business and community?
If there is, I would say either early morning or late, but that's probably dictated by the armored car service. So we're gonna try to promote it as best as we can, but it's gonna be determined by the volume of cash. Maybe it's daily, maybe it's weekly. We don't know yet, right?
Understood.
But we're gonna try to not disturb the local businesses.
Okay. Who's next?
Any other questions?
See, that's the benefit of going last.
Oh.
We're all very tired.
But I have wealth of knowledge.
We're hungry. It's not just talk about cannabis either.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yes.
The only question I have, how does this process work, right?
So next week, you'll come before the community board. You'll be one of what all the rest of those folks that party with out in the hall while you waited. And the same material you supplied to us will be supplied to our 40-member board. There may be some additional questions. In fact, some of the questions we asked tonight, they may ask in the meeting. So that'll just get you prepared for that. And then we will take a vote in the meeting on each individual license. And then we will send a letter in response to OCM to let them know that we have either that we have no issues or concerns. Because again, this isn't an approval process. This isn't like when we do liquor licenses, but this would be sort of like we have scrutinized the business, and at this point we have no outstanding concerns. Something along those lines. Christine knows the language a hell of a lot better than I do.
For our comments. So we
or
let them know what happened at the meeting, and then you put it in your file.
Yeah, and we usually just file them with how the vote went so far. So that's basically it. So by this time next week, you'll know sort of where you stand with the community. We'll let you know right then and there.
Okay, thank you.
So,
And next week's meeting is not here, it's at Queensboro Hall.
Yes, thank you.
Now we're getting confusing, we have two different locations, none of them are our office.
Yeah, so
our office is just too small to do these sorts of things, especially when you get to that 40 people thing, and then you got the public coming in. I mean, we're talking fire hazard.
we actually thought we were special, that we were gonna be the only one presenting.
Yeah.
We're so small.
We're waiting for the lights to turn on.
Yeah, we're like,
Sorry.
we're the only ones, we get the special attention.
Hey, better our board. I know some boards have had 65 people applying a month, so we've been very lucky to not have 65. Yeah, it's real. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year.
You too, be well. See you next week.
Thank you.
See you next week.
Thank you. Yes. I never know when you stop. Like, is it time?
I think it's the first week of September. That's funny, my timing. The lawyer still here? Huh? The lawyer or the?
Oh, is the lawyer?
Yes, they're next.
Well, we can push ourselves. We really need to, okay, you know what, I'll wait. Because, also over here is right. It is a public charter middle school. And if you look at the location, it's right there. That's a problem. Because these charter schools are publicly funded, so they're in the same vein.
Hello.
Hi,
welcome back.
We're glad you're here too.
Thank you for waiting.
Thank you for sticking
Used to
around.
be young and good looking, right?
Yes.
Hi. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to come here. I was not late, for the record.
You're fine.
She was very
I mean,
That's what they all say. Just playing. I'm seriously.
I see what that could mean.
Oh my.
Sorry.
Okay, no.
Just so you know, the session is being recorded.
Can I ask a question that came up? We're concerned that you are literally on the same block as a charter school. This came up in discussion just quickly. Balance College Prep is a publicly funded charter school. It is not a public school, but it would be seen in the same vein as a parochial school, as a private school. It is on the same block. I think the only thing is I don't know that they have full possession of the property in which they educate. But we wanted to see if you were aware of that.
Yes, we are aware of this. The school does not occupy the entire building, which would mean that it would be in full compliance with the OCM regulations.
Okay.
Of course, the requirement of the OCM will be extremely stringent, and even if we got approved here and had a blessing of the board, we would still have to pass all the other requirements that they have: the location, the CO, the 3 billion other requirements. So while we do know that the school is on the same block, there's actually a store located at 9721 Queens Boulevard around the corner that sells cannabis products illegally there right now, and there are kids there all the time. And you should see the marketing on the storefront.
I know that.
I mean, it's not an excuse for us to open another store, but this is how we fight those type of people, by opening legal stores that intend to comply and, of course, do what's best for the community.
Have you met the folks that run the illegal shop on 9721, I believe you said?
9721 Queens Boulevard. I went inside just to see what's happening, and I pass by there all the time. My office is around the corner.
Can we ask you if you ever see anything hinky? Can you please reach out to the community board?
I make complaints. I make complaints to the Attorney General's office. I make complaints to the OCM. I will bring it to your attention.
Please.
It'll be more than once. You're gonna be tired of hearing from me.
One of our state senators actually has a designated staff member who has been sort of running some of this down, and it's been slightly effective, as effective as the system is. We know that the system right now is highly ineffective. But we at least know that we have a good partner in our district that has got a designated staff member who does work on this sort of stuff. So if you do see, because you'd be in a position to see more than the rest of us, if you do see something, please reach out to us.
I'll be more than happy to do this. I mean,
okay.
my kids, my family, I've been in this community for over 30 years. All 3 of my children were born and raised here. I live a few blocks away from here, so I'm more interested in having this space clean, safe, and sound for all purposes. You'll be hearing from me very often.
Good.
I apologize in advance.
No, we like frequent flyers. That's good. Go ahead.
One of the other questions that was raised prior is, it seems that the location has a little alley on the side. So we were concerned about security cameras being placed there, since that could be an area where people can go and consume, or I don't know what they can do there.
It's a driveway. That alley is a driveway. There are 4 cameras.
Oh, there are.
There are 4 cameras all around the building, so there's no spot in the building outside where you could be in a blind spot. So if you live one vantage point in one camera, you will be in another one. It's perfect. And there'll be more cameras installed, by the way. So this is all what we have at this particular point.
What we were looking at on the screen with, you can't always make it out when you're looking at pictures.
4 cameras, guaranteed.
So that's helpful. Thank you.
Yes.
We were talking, go ahead. Did you have a question? You're on the first floor of that property, correct?
Yes.
And then on the second floor is the spa, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then regarding security, I think we had talked about armed guards, non-armed guards, has there been a decision made as to which way you would go as far as armed versus unarmed?
So it's a new business.
Yeah.
For all of us, you, us, the state, so there will be a lot of involvement and development in different kind of areas, security in particular. So our intent to initially hire two experienced and certified security guards, unarmed initially, because we don't want to have weapons in our facility.
Of course.
That's really the reason why we don't want people to be armed. However, if the need presents itself to have those kind of guards, we would certainly explore that.
Did we clarify if they were doing, did we clarify the delivery or not delivery? Are you doing
I don't
delivery?
think we asked those questions. Yeah, you did ask.
Okay, are you all doing delivery?
We think that this should be the option that we should offer, for several reasons. Of course, we wanna be competitive. I think, much like the liquor store business, everybody's gonna sell the same product, okay? So the delivery will alleviate, the need for people to come and to, you know, make the area busy, so to speak.
So you're looking to be delivery only?
No.
Delivery and retail?
Right.
Okay.
So we intend, because of the type of product it is, it doesn't require a lot of space for display inside the store. So there'll be a waiting area, there'll be no waiting line outside. There'll be a waiting area, and we will have a check-in system, somebody who comes in, checks in, and stays in a waiting area, and, once your number is called, you'll be, called to the, consultant to discuss the product. Also, if the people wanna speak about their questions in private, there'll be accommodations for those type of purposes as well.
Friendly, and, yeah, we can't help ourselves. Don't let that friendly face fool you.
I only ask this question because I do these for my job, and they take a lot of work. So I just read in your community impact plan that which if you can't do this, I'll ask the person who might be doing this. There's a plan to publish community annual reports detailing community contributions, job creation, and other metrics that reflect the positive impact of this dispensary. Can you explain about how you plan to do that? Because it takes a lot of work, I do that, so.
So I think that will be a lot of work, but at the same time, I think, that it's really about being part of the community and because such a huge part of this industry is to give back to the community. I mean, if you read the state's report and their impact and everything, it was all about the community. So I think taking that vein, it was to build on that. So hiring, obviously we're gonna keep records of who's hiring, where they're hiring from, the community, charitable donations, that obviously will all be tracked. But while it will be work and it will be additional work, I don't think it's gonna be anything that's not manageable.
Okay. And I apologize because we asked this question a few times and it may have been needed off of this, but do you have an idea or a list of organizations you would be providing charitable contributions to?
It's, in other words, what I was gonna say about this, we don't have a list of organizations that we will be contributing as part of this business. We've been involved in many organizations in the community. I was actually on this board many years ago. So it'll be on need basis, and whatever we could make the most impact, we would donate. It may be to organizations that do things for children, maybe other organizations. Not only, we're not gonna donate to organizations where we will see benefit to our organizations. It's gonna be a general community-related event.
Thank you. Just to explain, the next step in the process will be next week. We have our board meeting on Wednesday at Borough Hall at 7 o'clock. We will be having yourself and the other applicants that came this evening come before the board one at a time. The board will be supplied all of the information that you supplied to us in advance. They will probably have a few questions. I would expect to have some questions from our board, just knowing how they questioned about the preparatory school. I think that will be an obstacle. I'm just being transparent with you. I feel that there's no need to dance around that. So if just giving you that so that you're prepared to provide an answer to the board, that would be the only thing I can share in advance. But they will just answer, they will ask a few questions. Then we don't actually vote to approve. What we do is when we vote to just basically say that we scrutinize your business and we see no concerns. At this time, we would give them, let them know the voting margin. If the vote wouldn't go your way, we would also have to communicate that as well, just so that they know the end result. And you will know prior to leaving the meeting, because we will vote right then and there. After we hear all five, we will vote on each one individually. Okay?
If I could add something
Please.
to your last point. We strategically decided that we will not sell any products that may attract children to anything close to our building, such as gummy bears and on purpose. Because in addition to that, we will hold fairs, where an information on use of cannabis at early age will be distributed to children, whether neighboring kids or somebody who just passes by. So we take this particular issue, not because they're on our block, but because it'll affect everyone, not only the people in the neighborhood. So we take this issue very seriously and prepare to address it, as much.
Thank you, it's nice to hear from someone who used to be on our community board years and years ago.
Just to address about school, we did, in the information that we submitted,
Yes.
we did put the information, we did say the school's there, we also put the certificate of competency to show.
Sure.
So we did disclose that.
No, and I
Something wanted to try and
I appreciate that, we've just been reading a lot of these, and so after a while, your eyes start to cross and you're like, where did I, so thank you for that, and I think, anyone else have questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you, see you next week.
Yes.
Is that it now? Yes.
Yes.